everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Daryl Wade, co-founder and chair of Interpret, a global travel company. Mr. Wade, first of all, welcome to Nepal.
Great, thank you.
Greetings from here. So how has been your experience in Nepal so far?
It's great. I've only been here a couple of days, so it's a short visit. But I always love coming to Nepal. The people are so great. You always feel so welcome, and it's a wonderful country.
And I believe I've been to Nepal for so many times before. How has your experience changed over the years or something?
It has indeed changed. I first came to Nepal in 1984, so 40 years ago. So as you can imagine, the change has been incredible in that time. The streets are all different, the buildings are all different. Everything's in those days the town was full of cycle rickshaws. Now it's full of cars. And it's kind of even crazier than it was perhaps back then. It's so busy now.
And what do you think the government of Nepal, what kind of policy and reforms should government of Nepal implement so that it will be more feasible to invite more tourists in Nepal and promote the tourism culture of Nepal?
Yeah, look, I'm not one to speak for government. I mean, the government needs to decide what suits the national priorities of Nepal, and so the government is best to do that. But I will say that the tourism industry has the capability to deliver a lot of wealth into the country, and that money that flows into the country because of tourism can really benefit people if it's well designed. So, I'm a very big advocate of looking at the infrastructure needed to support tourism so that tourism can come in and the money tourists spend and the taxation revenue raised through tourism can benefit all of the people of Nepal.
What do you think has been missed until now that can be done more better by the government side on policy level so that in the future we have got some amazing places in Nepal, we can promote them, we can even promote other unexplored places in Nepal. What do you think has been missed until now and something new that can be done, the technological era and everything regarding that?
So look, the potential for tourism in Nepal is really quite amazing, and it's a lot more than what we're seeing at the moment. I think one of the things in order to fulfill that potential is really look at the infrastructure that's required for tourism. It's really quite basic stuff like roads and water and power supply. Those things benefit the local community, but they also benefit tourism enormously. I think in terms of the design of product, Nepal suffers a little bit because of the very attraction that people come for. So Mount Everest is, of course, the icon of Nepal, one of the icons of the world. And so people come here and they want to do the Everest Base Camp trek. That's fine and that's good. But actually the diversity of Nepal is so much more than that. And so I think we as an industry, plus the government, plus other tour operators, need to really talk about that diversity, build the attractions so that people don't just go to Everest Base Camp, but they go to all the other areas in Nepal, which again benefit the country, benefit local communities, and spread the benefit of tourism.
Okay, thank you so much. What are your favorite 5 places to visit in Nepal? It might be a bit personal question as well.
Yeah, 5. I've certainly been to a lot more than 5 places over the years. But the Khumbu Everest region is obviously fantastic. My family and I walked in the Annapurna regions a few years back, and that was equally brilliant. Going rafting on some of the rivers is something that these days not that many people are doing, but it's a sensational thing to do. Chitwan National Park, some of the smaller towns like Bandipur is really good. So look, Nepal is just one of those countries with so much to offer travellers. It's really quite extraordinary.
You've been in this field for so long. What would be your suggestion to promote sustainable tourism in Nepal? Because the travel that can be sustainable and unsustainable, that can be good for the environment and bad for the environment, good for the indigenous people and sometimes bad for them. What would be your suggestions to Nepal so that we can promote tourism sustainably?
Yeah, look, first of all, I think you need a whole of industry approach. And so whilst tour operators and individual players can do certain things and should do certain things, you nonetheless need a structured approach. And so one thing that's useful to look like it is the Global Sustainable Tourism Council has approaches for all of country approach on sustainability. So that looks at the hotel industry, looks at destination issues, it looks what government can do, and it looks at the whole field of how you build sustainability into the destination. And I should say, sustainability is critical. It's not just a nice to have, but increasingly travellers around the world are looking to destinations that are more sustainable. And you hear about over-tourism in the world, and certain areas and certain destinations are starting to lose the appeal of what they originally had because too many tourists are going to small areas. And Nepal's got to be very careful that it's not a victim of its own success. So it needs to build in sustainability so that hotels are not using single-use plastics, for instance. We're building up renewable energy sources where we can, using electric vehicles where we can, and really doing it the whole gamut of facilities to improve sustainability. The thing about improving sustainability is it gives the traveller a better experience, so they're more likely to rate Nepal highly. But of course, the main reason to do it is that it benefits local communities. It means there's less rubbish in the streets, there's less pollution in the air, the quality of water is better. That's for everyone, not just for tourists. And so by building a sustainable economy, you're benefiting the whole of society.
What would the foreigners look forward to when they come to Nepal? What would be their primary thought or the targets of coming to Nepal?
Look, I think when people have never been to Nepal, their first thoughts are always about the mountains. It's about the Himalaya. That is the icon of Nepal. It is what people are coming here to see. But of course, as an industry, we like to promote, and I'm sure the government also likes to promote, that there is so much more to Nepal than just the mountains. And I think the second biggest attraction for Nepal is actually the people. The people are remarkably friendly. We know our travellers who leave Nepal, the first thing they talk about is not the mountains, it's the people and how friendly they are. And that's a huge natural asset for the country.
You are a traveller yourself and you're a travel entrepreneur. What would be your personal plan? What is your personal plan to visit places to visit in Nepal? What are you looking forward so that it can be portrayed as something you love doing to the rest of the world?
Yeah, look, I think the next time I come back to Nepal, and there definitely will be a next time and it won't be far away, I want to travel slower. I think sometimes as a traveller you get caught up in the hurly-burly of travel, but actually the best part of travel is travelling slowly and really taking in the destination. It's having that extra conversation with someone. It's sitting in a beautiful square like this and having a cup of coffee and just absorbing the atmosphere. I think too often we go from this place to the next place to the next place to the next place, and we don't take time to absorb the destination. And that's really important because when you think about it, why is it that we travel as humans? We travel to go somewhere new, to learn something, to absorb something of the culture, to meet people.
There are a lot of unexplored places in Nepal. For example, Mount Everest is not the only mountain in Nepal. What would be your suggestion to go for unexplored places? Like there is Ama Dablam, and there are other peaks in Nepal that can be promoted. There are other unexplored indigenous tribes in Nepal that we can delve into their lives later and then make some kind of promotional materials from it. We can introduce Nepal as a hub for unexplored tourism as well. What would be your suggestion for Nepali people and other travel entrepreneurs in Nepal and government itself so that we can promote unexplored places as well?
Yeah, I think the future of Nepal tourism really relies on the development of new areas. There's no question that Nepal has a lot of areas which are fantastic to explore, fantastic to stay in, but people aren't getting there. And so we need to build infrastructure to a certain extent to help get people to those areas. We also need some hotels or lodges or whatever. But also we just need to, philosophically, we need to spread the load so that we have fewer people going to more places. And if we can do that, in fact, the quality of experience for travellers is that much higher. It's so wonderful being in a remote area in Nepal and looking at the mountains around you. It's not as good if you've got 100 people around you. So if we can spread that load and go into more places that are really, really special, Nepal tourism will really shine, I think, and more people will be attracted to the country. more people will be spending money in the country, and also that money will be spread more evenly across the whole country, and that's really beneficial to the people of Nepal.
If you had to introduce Nepal to the world, how would you summarize Nepal in a few paragraphs or in a few sentences?
I think when describing Nepal, you have to use the word magic. It is a little bit like a magical kingdom. You know, you've got things that you kind of almost see in storybooks. You know, there's amazing architecture, there's amazing mountains, there's rainforests and national parks and tigers and wildlife. And so in that sense, it really is like a magical kingdom. And I think that allure and mystique or whatever is still in Nepal. And I think that's how I talk about Nepal, and probably how I'll continue to talk about Nepal.
So it's magic.
It's magic.
As per the data last year, Interpret has sent around 4,000 tourists in Nepal, but it's only 2% of what tourists Interpret has been serving. So what would be your plan for coming years so that we can increase the numbers, or why is it so less than the total numbers of travelers we have?
Well, Intrepid operates in about 120 countries around the world. And so ultimately we serve a certain client type of traveller, the traveller who's looking for a more experiential experience. And so that can happen in lots of places around the world. Now, the fact is Nepal is probably one of the best places where that can happen, but nonetheless, we present to the American market, to the English market, Australian market, all the different things we offer. And the traveller at the end of the day decides where they want to go. And so they might want to go to Morocco or Peru or Nepal. Now, we do work with governments and national tourist authorities on creating specific campaigns in specific areas. So, like for instance, we recently did a campaign in the USA for Morocco, and that saw a significant increase in tourism to Morocco. We'd be very open to do that with Nepal as well, but I'm not sure whether the government of Nepal is really that interested in tourism campaigns. But certainly we're very open to it. We would love to bring more travellers to Nepal, and I'm sure the people of Nepal would like to have more tourists arrive as well.